Go.
Welcome to this episode of Who Am I? Where Am I? Today we have
Mr. Lauenstein.
at our show. As we know, he is a author of his new book, The Making of American Capitalist. I'm sure that's going to be a big sell later on, as we see it in Barnes Noble.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, the book is about Warren Buffett. As we know, Warren Buffett is the second richest man living today. He's one of the most successful New York.
Stockholders in New York. He
Okay.
is definitely an amazing man who not only thinks differently but acts differently and goes in a different direction from the general crowd.
Okay, Mr. Lavisky, right? Okay. Could you tell me about the main pieces in your book?
Well, the main pieces focuses on the life of Warren Buffett, and it's definitely his life that makes him so rich and so successful. So at a young age, he used to collect the golf balls that used to be hit outside the golf course, and he used to sell them back to the golf course at for 50 cents, which was a lot of money back then. And so he's always had this drive to be rich. He's always wanted to be rich, and he's always thought differently. He thinks differently, and I think if you want to be rich in this world, you have to think differently, just like Buffett does.
Okay, what's your inspiration in this book? Why did you choose to write about Warren Buffett instead of someone else, like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs?
My inspiration for writing about Warren Buffett is definitely since he is a man that, like I said before, thinks differently, but also has this drive to be rich, and who wants to just keep making more money. I mean, he's had so many businesses since he was a kid. He's done everything, from selling Coca-Cola bottles to selling back the golf balls that got hit outside the golf course.
Okay, from this book, what do you learn about Warren Buffett? Like, do you interview his coworkers or himself? What do you learn about Warren Buffett? What kind of person is he like?
Well, I interviewed his coworkers, and they all definitely say that he is a very powerful and a very well speaker. He can speak, and he could sell people his ideas, since he used to have a business where you would give him $10,000 and he would buy pretty much any stock he felt was going to make money, and he used to pretty much just talk to people, and within 5 minutes he usually could sell them the idea, and they would usually give him their money so he could use it to buy stocks and make even more money.
I have a question, one last question. How do you persuade people to buy your book? What make your book more outstanding compared to other authors who write about the same topic, Warren Buffett?
I think it's definitely since we interview so many of his coworkers in this book, and we definitely go into more detail of his childhood, and you will see if you read this book how he lived through the Great Depression and how he was hard hit, so he vowed to himself that he would never be poor like how he was as a kid during the Depression. And not only this, but I think this is just a great book and a great inspiration to all the entrepreneurs out in the world, whether you're a kid or an adult. Then this will definitely give you a lot of good ideas on how you can make your own business or whatever as an entrepreneur.
Okay, last question. What is your target audience for your book? Between what ages and what level of?
I think definitely just anybody who wants to make money as an entrepreneur or a stockholder, or who's just looking to get ideas and how to think outside the box like Warren Buffett does. It's definitely not really age specific, although I do think that mostly it'll be adults who are reading this book, as it is kind of thick. But
How many pages are there?
about 420.
How long did it take you to write it?
It took me about half a year to write it.
So it has tons of information.
Yes, we've interviewed so many of his coworkers for this book.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewinsky, for coming to our show. And this is Harry Zane from Who Am I? Where Am I? See you next time.